In this video, I'll be doing a lab from the Blackbox Cisco CCNA Gold Bootcamp course that I'm taking. And the lab is NAT Troubleshooting. It says your company has bought the range of public IP addresses 203.0.113.0/28 for use in a new branch office. The office is not in use yet. The service provider default gateway SP1 uses IP address 203.0.113.1. 203.0.113.2 is to be assigned to the internet-facing F00 interface on your router R1. A junior network administrator was tasked with configuring NAT as follows. 1. A permanent translation should be set up so that external hosts on the internet can reach the internal server 1 web server, which is here, using IP address 203.0.113.3. Test this by telnetting to port 80 on the server from EXTS1. Or we can just pull up a browser, I guess, too. And 203.0.113.3. Let's see what happens. And I'm going to go forward in time in packet tracer, request timeout, so it's not working. All right, or we could have telnetted either way. So then step 2 is the 50 internal hosts on the 10.0.2.0/24 internal network should be able to use the remaining public IP addresses from here to communicate with external hosts. Internal hosts should share public IP addresses where necessary. Test by pinging pinging external server 1 from both PC1 and PC2. So we'll do that. We'll start with PC2 and we'll go to the command prompt and we'll try pinging external server 1. So ping 203.0.113.20. And I'm going to jump forward in time in packet tracer with this button to speed this up. Okay, we got a reply from that. That worked. And then from PC1, we're going to want to also try pinging. So let's go to the command prompt and we want to ping 203.0.113.20. And we get a reply, so that's working. It has been reported that inbound connectivity from the internet to internal server 1 is not working. Internal server 1 and the PCs on the 10.0.2.0 network do, however, have outbound connectivity to the internet, which is what we just saw when we pinged external server 1 successfully. Your task is to find the error, explain to the junior network administrator what their mistake was, and then fix the problem. The task is complete when you can explain why the current configuration is not working, and you have replaced it with a working configuration. All right, well, let's get started at the top again. Your company has bought the range of IP addresses. The service provider uses 203.0.113.1. 203.0.113.2 is to be assigned to the internet facing, so let's see if that is assigned. Let's start with that. And let's do a show IP interface brief. And we can see that F00 has 203.0.113.13, which is not correct. It's supposed to be .2. And it's getting this IP address from DHCP, which is not correct either. If we are to, if this should be configured, so this should not be DHCP. So that's definitely an error, so let's fix that. We need to go to CompT, and we need to do interface fast Ethernet 00 is the interface we're going to work on, and we want to assign it the IP address. IP address is going to be 203.0.113.2, and it was on a /28. So that's going to be 255.255.255.240. And now we should be able to do show IP interface brief. And we can see that fast Ethernet 00 is now at 203.0.113.2. So move that out of the way. That looks good. Moving on. Permanent translation should be set up so that external hosts on the internet can reach internal server 1 web server using IP address 203.0.113.3. Okay. So let's see what the configuration is right now. And let's do a show run. And let's open this up a bit. All right, so we have, I'm just gonna open it all the way up and then scroll up. Okay. So we have for fast Ethernet 00, we have the correct IP address, the subnet. Fast Ethernet 00 is configured as IP NAT outside, which is correct because it's outside. Fast Ethernet 01 has an address of 10.0.1.1, 10.0.1.1, that's F01. IP NAT inside, that's correct. Fast Ethernet 10 has an address of 10.0.2.1, and it also is IP NAT inside, that's correct. We have IP NAT inside source list 1 interface fast Ethernet 00 overload, IP NAT inside source static 10.0.1.10, which is internal server 1, mapped to 203.0.113.13, and that is not correct because over here it said the wedge server should be using the IP address 203.0.113.3, so they had a typo when they did that. Either that or it got it from the DHCP, I'm not sure which, but we need to take care of that. So we need to delete both of these lines. So let's just start with this one. And we're going to go into global configuration mode, and I'm going to just type the no command and then paste the first line. And that is, so no IP NAT inside source static, inside source list 1 overload. Okay, yeah. And then we got to copy the second line as well and get rid of that because this is the wrong address. And we want to enter the no command and paste that there. No IP inside source, and that gets rid of the 113. So now we need to put the correct .3 in there. So let's paste it again and just change this to .3, right? 203.0.113.3, yep, that's right. And it should be mapped to 10.0.1.10. Okay, that looks good. And let's do, okay, test this, the bot 15 internal. Let's see. Not sure where to go next. Let's take a look at well, let's try, since I changed that, let me see what happens if we try to hit this with the web browser from here. Let's just start there. So it should be 203.0.113.3, and that should be the IP address of the web browser. Let's go forward in time, request timeout, so that failed. Maybe let's look at, okay, we need to look at the routing table to make sure everything is there. Show IP route. And we do have our routes. So we have 10.0.1.0 is directly connected. 10.0.2.0 is directly connected. 203.0.113.0 is directly connected. But we don't have a path out to the internet for the PCs or the server. So we need to create a static route for that. And we need to go into global configuration mode. And let's do IP route 0.0.0.0, 0.0.0.0, which just means anything you can't find, try this route to 203.0.113.1. And that's just going to be the default route, the catch-all for anything it can't find. Let's look at our instructions here. So that should be fixed. Do show IP route. Okay, now we have that route in there, so they should be able to get back out. We have the 50 internal hosts on 10.0.2.0 should be able to use the remaining public IP addresses that are left over from the /28 to communicate with external hosts. Internal hosts should share public IP addresses where necessary. So we got to configure a pool of addresses for the hosts to use. And we need to go to global configuration mode, which we're in right now. And then we're going to do issue command. So IP NAT Pool, and we're going to name it Blackbox, which is just what we do. And we've used up 203.0.113.1. We've used up .2. We used up .3 for designating for internal server 4. So we need, we can start with 203.0.113.4. And we have what? 2, 4, 8, 16 hosts minus 2 is 14. So we can go through, we need to take off 2 for that. So we should be able to go through, let me look at this. 1 is gone also. So we should be able to go through 203.0.113, 113.12. All right. And then what else do we need? Oh, we need the net mask. And that would be the 240. So 255.255 because it's a /28. 255.240. And we need to associate an access list. So IP NAT inside source list 1 pool and then the flat box. And we need to, okay, it has been reported. Okay, so let's check out, let's start seeing if this stuff is working now. So let's try pinging from PC1 to external server 1. We'll go to the command prompt and we're going to ping 203.0.113.20, and let's see if that's working. Forward in time. Yes, that's working. PC2, command prompt. Try it. Go forward in time. That is working. Okay. Let's try ping from internal server 1 to external server 1. So ping 203.0.113.20. We're getting a reply. That's good. Now let's go back here and try with the web browser from here to here, which should be 203.0.113.3. 203.0.113.3. Hit go. We got a response. The page loaded. So that's good. We assigned F00 the 203.0.113.2 address, check, and we would tell the network administrator they had that configured as DHCP and it was feeding it the wrong IP, obviously. Permanent translation should be set up so that external hosts on the internet can reach internal server 1 web server. We fixed that because that had been improperly configured with a 203.0.113.13 address. So we fixed that. It says the 50 internal hosts on 10.0.2.0 internal network should be able to use the remaining public IP addresses to communicate with external hosts. Internal hosts should share public IP addresses where necessary. And we confirmed that when we were pinging from here to this server, which we did. And then it goes on to say, okay, so find the errors, explain why, and fix the problems. And it looks like we've done all that. So that's the end of that lab. See you in the next video.